Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ready Speaker. Yes, I'm talking about stuff out there that's going on TV and movies and everything and what's streaming. And I've been focusing on the streaming stuff. And I got another show here called Poker Face. It's right there. Poster kind of reminds me of Almost Famous, actually. Sort of like a very interesting thing. And this stars Natasha, let me get her last name, Line 1. Oh. And Benjamin Bratt. And I think we got a couple other people here. Actually, it's a big line of famous people from films and theater and all the TV shows. If you watch it, it's kind of cool because it comes into that. So the premise is that Poker Face, or this lead character here, and what is she? Let's see, what's her name? Is Charlie. Yes, Charlie. That's right. I remember that now. It's Charlie. So Charlie has this ability to tell when people are lying. Not exactly how they're lying, but just a feeling of when things aren't right. So she kind of calls bullshit. So she was banned by casinos because she could play cards so well, knowing when people were lying or bluffing. And she ended up working in a casino, first episode, pilot episode, with Adrian Brody and Benjamin Bratt. And it sort of goes from there, and where it becomes a procedural sort of Columbo. I think as some people have compared it to, like a Columbo, where you know who did the murder and you know what's going on, and you're sort of just piecing together how they bring it to the fore and how they catch the person. The difference with this show, and I guess maybe that's why it reminds me more of Rockford Files, is that it's not a police officer. So you have Rockford Files, you have maybe Burn Notice was a little bit like this, where somebody had to be vindicated. It's also Highway to Heaven. I think that was it with Michael Landon, where he was like the God's angel on the streets and roaming around helping people. It's sort of like that, because with the first episode you have Adrian Brody, and again, there's no real spoilers here. It's about how they discover it. So Adrian Brody kills a hotel worker because she's found some information that was left open in a room of one of their whales. A whale is somebody in the casino who brings in a lot of money, and then they take all the money from them. And Adrian Brody's character is trying to set up a poker game, or at least con him in a poker game, to get all his money and to prove to his father that he's not a fuck up in some shitty casino. I think in Reno. I don't know where it was. Might have been in Vegas, but I think it was Reno. So that's the story, and how she sort of figures out and pieces together all the loose ends that just don't feel right. So it moves from that, and that's almost like a police one, where actually police are involved. Now the other episodes, I've gone through a few of them, a little bit different. It's a little bit different. It is much more of the Highway to Heaven approach, and not people looking for help or hiring for help, which is Rockford Files, which is Burn Notice, which is a lot of that, or any TV procedural where they say, "Hey, come and help me and figure out what happened because I didn't do it, or I'm wrongly accused." This is actually, she's making friends and has an attachment to each person, which is kind of a little bit of a different play. And Natasha, she's an interesting character. I will say that. I think she has an interesting look. She has a look. She has a sound. Very East Coast. It's I don't know how to. I mean, it's a little bit like Fran Drescher, sort of, but not over the top and campy. I think she delivers really well. I think she plays to her strengths in this. It can be somewhat comedic. There are points where you can see she's totally in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's a little bit funny the way she physically tries to work through stuff, and how she does self-commentary on where things are and how her life is treating her, and it's kind of interesting, and it's cute that way. So I think I watched 4 episodes. I think 4. Yeah, I think I watched 4 episodes of it, and it grew on me. First pilot, I was like, I've kind of seen this before, and it just didn't. Adrian Brody, I like Adrian Brody. I think he's actually good in a lot of stuff. Still, was it Predators? He was in Predators. Still one of my favorite Predator movies, and I like him. I'm gonna lean back a little bit just to get a little distance there. So I like Adrian Brody, and I like Natasha also. Benjamin Bratt, I think he plays really well in this part. I think his delivery is spot on. I think he's got a real good hook onto the character, where he wants to be with his tempo, with his stance. I think he's a good actor in that sense. I think Ron Perlman is in this too, and they just have a bunch of actors coming through this. You have Simon Helberg, Brandon Michael Hall. You have let's see. There's a whole bunch of people. You have Adrian Brody, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I think is great. He's really great at Chloe. It is her. Okay. She's actually Judith Light, Ron Perlman, Ellen Barkin. These are all people appearing on this. Nick Nolte, Tim Blake Nelson. So there's a lot of people. It's sort of like the Love Boat of TV shows. And in the 70s, that's actually what they were. You would have all these guest actors on there who did cinema, other TV shows, or were real characters in the world and famous. And this was their little side hustle, side gig that they would do. And it was kind of fun. And it reads fun. I think that's actually the good thing about this show is the people that are pulled into it, it actually reads fun. They become these, characters that are bigger than life that sort of have to run at 60 right away. And that's the beauty of it too. You're at 60 right away with these characters and then moving along. And that's how they offer the duration of the show and the duration of their acting bit. So they can give it all and they're out. And I think that plays really, really well. Adrian Brody, I thought he had some good layers in this character of where he was. There was a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of nervousness, uncertainty, which you don't really get in these sort of casino, especially casino-based shows. They're all like hard, they're trying to imply the mobster feel to it without fear of repercussions and stuff like that. Like you don't know who I am sort of attitude. And I think that's what plays differently in this. It's a backwater. The first episode, it's like it's a crappy little casino. It's not doing great. It's you got some work there, some not work there. It don't really matter, and people just go there to blow off a little steam. And it's not going to be this glamorous sort of a thing. Whereas and then that's where, like I said, that's where the first character was for me. And by episode 2 and episode 3, you see Charlie's character is really becoming friends with a lot of people and meeting good people along the way who were wrongfully accused of a crime or hurt or killed, and that's who she's finding things out for. So it's not even that. She's not only just vindicating who was accused of a killing. That might be a friend. She's also solving crimes for people who are just friends, and it doesn't matter who, if anybody's accused for it. So I think that was really, really interesting how that story arc is going. Stylistically, it's very 70s. The font looks very 70s, very much like a Columbo, Mannix, Cannon. What the hell? There's one with, it's Quincy. That was a procedural like this. There's so many, but these were, besides Quincy, they were all pretty much hired investigators. You have Rockford Files is probably the truest, to sort of down the luck, never really getting up to where they need to be, and that's still a classic in my opinion. And then you had the other series. Yeah, Columbo was also a classic. The raspy voice is probably what the commonality is. It's like very East Coast, and she is very East Coast. So she's taken her character, which was great in Orange is the New Black. And she did, was it the Russian Doll? I think that was the other one. Let me see. I'm just looking at IMDb. Sorry. Click, 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 click. And let's see where she is. Wow, without glasses, she looks great. She has a really good look. I think she plays up her character really, really well. So she knows what she's doing here. And I see Russian Doll, yeah. So she's in Russian Doll. So she's been coming around and doing a lot of stuff. And she has a very distinct way of speaking that she's dug into, and I think job well done on that she's taken who she is and that this is who you deliver. Her hairstyle is pretty much the same as she wants to be. So she's really, really working into all this stuff and to make it happen. Let me see here. What the hell? Let me see. She was actually in something else here. She was in Glass Onion? I don't remember that. Says she was. I don't know where she was in that. But whatever, doesn't really matter. She's working. She's working a lot. She's working well. She's doing a lot of good things. I would definitely give this show a watch. I think it's a fun show. It's growing on me. I'm not sure where it's going to go after season 1 because she's on the lam now. So Adrian Brody's father is hunting her. So I thought there's another series sort of like that where it's the person it's fish out of water ish. And avoiding the big towns, always in the small towns, and so that's playing into that. So it's a lot. I think it's influenced by a lot of shows that are out there, and I think Quantum Leap, even somebody just falling into a place and they just keep running. If you really think about it, Quantum Leap was essentially this show as well. Like, it's just new setting, new name, pretty much. You got to be who you got to be. And one she's a cook, one she's just broke, one she's a vagrant, one she's a cocktail hostess at a casino. So it's all new characters that she sort of has to feel her way through and make those connections with the people around her and see who's bullshitting or not, who's fake, who's real, and that's the gratifying part of it. That she's really going after these fake persons or characters, and really just digging in there and saying, I don't believe you, and I think the person who suffered, whatever it was, they were good people and you're not. And I think that's the real, like, the pleasure of watching this series. So it does have a beginning, middle, and end. It's a long thread among many little threads to get to the final bit of this road, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know if you ever have to watch it really in sequence. We have to see how it goes. That's the problem with having that long thread, that long arc with a character. Sometimes you have to watch it in sequence. I don't know if you do by the end. Right now, I don't think you do, besides the first one. That just really sets it up, but that's a pilot. After that, it doesn't really matter. And they do reference all the other episodes in it constantly. So a bit of humor, good timing, shot really well. It's out in the middle of the country, so you have these great vistas out there and these great shots of fields and desert and mountains, I guess, and that's how she's progressing along. And you're seeing a little bit of Americana, how they perceive themselves. You're seeing just some beat up places, some places that aren't really heavily traveled. So you're getting to see a little bit of America that a lot of people forget about. It's not all glitz, and there's an underbelly to everything. So give it a shot. Give it, definitely, I would say give it watch it. Watch a couple episodes. Don't go only with the pilot. And expect to see more. I think it's going to ramp up really well. I'm actually really excited about this series. It's a solid little series for me, and I think it does respect to the character work that's being done in the show. Like I said, she has a good look. It's a good cast. I think it's going to be a nice rotation of actors that bring a lot of quality storytelling to the series, which a lot of shows don't nowadays. So give it a show. Give it a watch. Not a show. Give it a watch. It is a show. Give it a watch. Comment below if you like it, subscribe, whatever. I mean, that's all I'm doing here. I'm just talking about shows and movies and TV shows. If you want to talk about the rest of the season, come on with me and I'll talk about the rest of the season. I think it's super interesting where it's going, and it's kind of deep in an entertaining way, and it doesn't put you off. So not too much thinking, but just thinking enough, which I think is good. All right, so this is Roland DeRucci, Ready Speaker. Again, every day you live, and you can rest your head on your pillow, be happy you lived another day, and when you wake up in the morning, be happy you started a day. That's how I'm living my life. I hope you all live your life in the same way. All right? Thank you. Bye.